Hey there, I'm Devani Alderson with Marketing for Traffic, and in this video I'm going to share the basics of how to use a Facebook page, as well as a lot of common questions I get asked as a social media manager, like what's the difference between a Facebook profile and a Facebook page, as well as people, small business owners and entrepreneurs they're really busy, they're, working, they need to create sales, generate revenues, send their email lists out, really get that revved up. And so a lot of people are frustrated or just are very unsure of how do I plug social media in to everything else I'm doing in my business and have it make sense and have it connect with everything else and make sure that, the social media is serving its purpose and actually, getting the results you need rather than just, posting stuff and just having it out there in the universe or in the ethernet, So I'm going to cover that in a few slides. Alrighty, so you should be able to see my screen right now. Oops. 1 second. There we go. So I'm going to start with the most common question, if this will move. There we go. Okay, so what social media platforms should I be on? So many people ask this, and there are two different camps on this question. Some people say, oh, you should be everywhere, and the more places you're at, the more reach you'll have, the more, audiences you'll reach. And then there are some people who are like, oh, you should just be on Facebook because there's so many, people, there's like billion plus users on Facebook. And I tend to agree. I tend to take it at sort of both perspectives. I really love what Amy Porterfield says, and she's a huge Facebook expert, so I highly recommend you looking into what she talks about. But she says that because there are so many people on Facebook, that there's really no excuse for any business owner to not be on Facebook and have a presence there. So whether you're a small business owner in the real estate niche or the childcare niche or an author, a speaker, whatever you are, I would really recommend starting on Facebook and just building that platform. Now, we can get into specifics, and each business can have a unique strategy, even unique platforms, social media platforms that they target. But I am a pretty big believer that you can make Facebook work for pretty much any industry. Now, if you're still really unsure if, your business is okay for Facebook, you should check out and see where your competition is, because especially competition that's really doing well, and see where are they marketing, how are they marketing, and what can, I like to say, what can I learn, or how can I take what my competition is doing and repurpose it into something that's usable for my brand, that really has, what I represent behind it, but also just takes the tips in the industry and just build on that and see what works. Because I can tell you, you're not the first one to typically, I mean, there's exceptions, of course, but you're typically not the first business in a specific niche. And so if you can find where others hang out, that's definitely where you should flock. But overall, I think Facebook is a great place to start for any small business. Now, the second question is one that's asked a lot. It's, what's the difference between a Facebook profile versus a Facebook page? So the profile is really more for personal friends and family. So, posting photos of, being out in town with friends, with family, meeting up with them, where I went for vacation, selfies. There's a huge selfie generation. dog photos, and of course cat photos, but I have a pet dog, so I'm definitely a dog lover. Hashtag dog lovers, dogs of Instagram, dogs of Facebook. So, yeah, so cat photos. I mean, things that are really more of a personal nature, that your friends will sort of understand, jokes between your friends, things like that. So the profile is just a place for you to network with your friends in a very relaxed, casual way, which is really the big reason that a lot of people are on Facebook. Then there are Facebook pages, and those are dedicated for, business. So, whether you're a mom blogger, a DIY, do-it-yourself blogger, DIY blogger, whatever niche you're in, or blog, whether it's a blog, a media site, there are even huge pages just dedicated toward positive quotes. And then authors, of course, speakers, entrepreneurs, really any business you're on. The page is devoted to, this is the place where you can talk about your industry, the things you know, tips you have to share, videos that explain, solutions for a lot of common industry problems, memes, selling your stuff, but not in an overly promotional way. More in a, let's start a conversation with people about, our industry, and let's get people talking about it. Let's get people engaged about it. Let's share and solve problems. Now, there's also been a lot of sort of blurred lines recently with Facebook. I think back in 2011 or 2012, Facebook added a follow button to the profiles, and while they had a friend limit first, so you can only be friends with like 5,000 people or something like that, and then they added a little follow button, like the Twitter follow, so that if you don't want to be friends with someone but you want to see their public public postings, then you can follow them for that. And so that's really blurred the lines a lot between the profile and the page, and I think it's confused a lot of people, but it doesn't have to. Here's the thing. The profile it's not for selling, but it's for sharing what you do and what you're passionate about. And when it comes to entrepreneurs, a lot of the times we're really passionate about what we do. And so that's what we share, industry news and blogs and articles we've written, places we've contributed to, and that's fine. But it's also be careful, sort of, that it's not really the place to sell yourself. It's more just sharing, business. And so I will definitely cover that in another training video more in depth, but just the basic overall view of a profile versus page. Profiles are definitely more personal, and pages are definitely dedicated to business. So I hope that cleared that up. The next question is, what kind of content should I create? And really, honestly, any type of content is really good content. So the same type of stuff that you would share on your blog can also go and be repurposed to your social media. So videos, memes, articles, asking people questions. Social media is a great place to ask people questions because they love to put their input, in, whether it's an opinion on something you're creating, like, hey guys, I'm creating a training on this topic, is this something you're interested in? And they'll tell you, they'll be like, yeah, I'm really interested, or no, I really don't need help with that, but I do need help with, this problem. And so it's a great way to engage with your audience, make them feel like they're contributing to you, and also letting them know that, I want to create something for you. What are you struggling with? So it really makes it sound like you care. Quick tips also, if you find hacks on things. I know on my Facebook page, Marketing for Traffic, that's the number 4. I like to share really quick tips each day, just like, do this for Twitter, or, this Twitter hashtag is really hot, or, recently I shared a tip on the different really cool fonts that can be used across different social media platforms that, really draw people's attention, and just sort of the layout of the different platforms. So if you can go into your industry, whether you're in the fitness industry, the clothing, fashion, makeup, real estate, childcare, whatever industry you're in, authors, speakers, then there's always really quick tips that your audience will love, because whether you've just discovered a problem and have solved it, or whether you just think, I've been using this app and it's a life-saving app for me, and sharing that will really help your audience, and it'll be really valuable because people want to know what other people are doing. So it really helps them learn, this is what you do, and it makes them want to also do that, especially if they're struggling with similar problems. Because typically as entrepreneurs, we create a solution to a problem that we've struggled with, and then also a lot of other people, we create a product because we realize, hey, we might not be the only ones struggling with that problem. So just always keep that in mind. The best content, no matter what medium it is a content that can solve their problems and yours. So it's a win-win, really. The next question. So how do I know what content is valuable? That's a really good one. Because it can be hard to tell. You put your work out there, you create something, you spend a lot of time making it really, what you think would be valuable, but it's hard to tell. So what I say is everybody loves solution-oriented people. People who are about solutions, solving problems, people love that. And so if you can be the person who solves your audience, your tribe's problems, then that is huge. People really like that because they want solutions. And not everybody is a solution-oriented thinker. And so if you can come in and say, hey guys, I have a solution for this, then that's awesome. Motivational stuff. Motivational stuff is a big one. Some people say, oh, motivation's corny, or those quotes are, shared by everyone, but they're shared by everyone because everybody loves it and everybody resonates. Everybody feels times where they're down, and, a certain quote, no matter how cliched it might sound to you, it's helped them, and that won't go away for a while. People say, a lot of people have said, motivation's for amateurs, and I really disagree, because while I can see where they're coming from, going pro means you're pro, you're professional, you're always motivated, but it's not true. There are days that, I wake up just not feeling motivated, and seeing a certain quote about persistence really does help. So never assume that just because you think it's not helpful that other people don't, because motivation is always helpful. And so I'll get back on topic. Answering questions, I think I touched on that a bit on the last slide. Answering people's questions is really great, because whether they ask it on your page or anywhere else, you taking the time to answer that tells them, oh, this person really cares about what I'm going through, and they took the time out of their day to help me. And that leaves an impression, and it builds a tribe. So always answer people's questions and offer advice. I covered that in the last one as well. Just offer your input, if you hear a lot of people on your page talk about things that they're not sure about, and I know this is a big one for authors and speakers. People will talk about, well, I just feel a certain way, or I just feel unmotivated, or I I want to write a book, but I don't know how, or I would love to start a business, but I don't know where to start. Offering little bits of input, again, it just shows that you care about those people, and that leaves an impression. So always do that. And it tells people who visit your page that, it's a safe place. You're not going to chide them. You're not going to be arrogant. You're not going to act like you don't care. And so it really shows, it doesn't just show the person you're responding to that you care. It shows everyone in a very public setting that you care. And that always goes a long way. And this last one's also really important. Honestly, they're all really important, but this last one's big. Input on personal growth. And it's really good for people who are coaches and trainers and speakers. This one's huge because people want to know that you're human. So no matter how big of a brand name you are or small, it doesn't matter. People want to know, hey, she's human. She struggles. She understands what I go through. And because she's on the other side, or because he's on the other side of where I'm struggling with now, I can ask them because they know they've been there. And so that's a really big one. It helps you become a relatable source, a reliable source, someone who's really honest, someone who's trustworthy. And I think that in the past, we have thought, well, if I share all that, they'll think that I'm not qualified because, I don't have the perfect golden life. But that's not true at all. We need to be vulnerable, and that helps, whether you're, and again, I'm saying this especially if you're a coach or trainer, don't assume that just because you're going through a hard time that you should hide that. That can be, I would say, definitely don't post about it until you've reached the other side so that you can, again, offer value through the story and how you got through. But don't be afraid, don't be afraid that people are going to be like, oh, well, you're not credible anymore because, you've been through this. That's not true at all. It just makes you more human, and people buy from people they love, like, and trust. And so definitely remember that one. And you might find that it's some of your best content. This is a huge one. How do I find time for all of this? I'm running my business. I'm trying to attract clients. I'm going to networking. I'm, constantly learning and, being up on industry news. So how do I find time to also give value to social media, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or anything else? And to that, I would say, the not so secret weapon that I use is the Facebook scheduler. This is my favorite tool on Facebook, and it's so simple and it's free. So this is how you schedule content. You can load your photo, your video, if you have an offer or an event, just a status update, a link to an article, and then instead of clicking post, click that little white arrow next to post, and under it, it's a drop down, and it'll say schedule post. And it is my favorite tool because on a Friday or a Saturday, I can just create and schedule a lot of content and be done for the week. Seriously, it takes like an hour, maybe 2 hours, depending on how much content you like to schedule. And I can just whip all that out and just get it done in a couple hours. Now, for me, it's a little different because I help manage multiple brands. So I'm creating lots of content across many different pages. But for an individual business owner, it should take no more than an hour and a half to schedule your entire week of Facebook content. An hour and a half, and you're good to go. I tell my clients that I would definitely check in, throughout the week, whether it's on your phone. There's the Facebook Pages app on your phone, so you can immediately go to your page and not be distracted by, you know, any personal stuff that you don't want to be distracted by while doing the business. And, you know, just go through your content, see, you know, who's responded, respond back to them. I say always respond back to people, especially when you're just starting out, because it's just respectful. Obviously, once you grow and become a huge name and don't have time for that, you don't necessarily have to do that as often. But I definitely, while you're building, respond to everyone, and that doesn't have to take long. And you can definitely carve out times in your day to do that. So, you know, I like to have everything scheduled, and then for a 10-minute break, just go to one of my pages, see who's responded, reply back, and then I've taken a little break, and then I can get back to my next project. So that's really how I would approach that. For other sites like Twitter and scheduling for that, there's Hootsuite is what I recommend for a business owner who just has a single business that they want to schedule for. You can manage both your personal Twitter and your business account Twitter. If you manage multiple brands, I would recommend Sprout Social. And multiple brands, whether they're yours, whether you're a social media manager, it really allows you. I think it's between $20 to $50 a month, and you can have tons of different brands for Facebook and Twitter and all this. So that's what I would recommend. I will get into more of that in another video. This was really just to cover the basics of Facebook so that small business owners wouldn't feel stuck, and so that you guys could just get going on Facebook and start building a presence. I really hope you enjoyed this, and if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to email me at Devani, Devani, at marketingfortraffic.com, and that's the number 4. Thank you. Bye.